So, I don't know about you guys, but I am legitimately in shock from the ending of Sheriff Country Season 1. I started finishing off the script about 12 hours after the premiere, but I spent the week of the premiere thinking that I could basically write this essay the week before the premiere and have it ready to go to record on Saturday, and let me tell you, that was definitely not the case. Over the last year, I've gotten quite the reputation for understanding exactly how Fire Country works. And with all of the ending explained articles out there telling you nothing about the long-form storytelling of the season, I thought I would take you through the series' 3 braided plot lines to show you how CBS managed to pull off a 20-episode serialized drama that stuck the landing as much as it could, and then threw in a twist that had me distracted from Fire Country for the entire hour that show was on. The story of Sheriff Country Season 1 actually starts in Fire Country Season 3 with the episode Dirty Money. In that episode, Wes Fox essentially kidnaps his stepdaughter Sharon Leone with the intent of giving her $50,000 to pay for medical expenses for her father-in-law, Walter Leone. Mickey is more or less forced to re-enter her father's life because Mickey is present when Wes's right hand Ozzy goes to get Sharon and Mickey goes with her. At the end of the episode, Mickey thinks that her father is going to murder Ozzy for trying to murder him, but she's ultimately proven wrong as Wes tried to talk him down. Mickey admits that Wes is a good guy, but ultimately conditions him re-entering her life on him going legal, which he refuses, saying that he's too old. Just 1 month later, the Zabel Ridge Fire decimates East Edgewater and kills Sharon's husband, Battalion Chief Vince Leone. Sharon slips into severe depression, refusing to work or allow anyone at the station to work, forcing a different fire battalion to come cover 42's territory. However, when Fraley Lumber catches fire and Mendocino's fire captain is trapped, 42 unbenches themselves, but without clear leadership, the incident devolves into chaos and multiple firefighters almost die. The focus shifts from the fire to rescuing the trapped firefighter, which costs time, and as we later learn, it takes a while for Fraley Lumber, owned by Travis's family and led by his sister Miranda, to recover. I promise I will talk about this more in a couple of weeks when I get around to my Fire Country Season 4 ending explained video, but for this essay, I'm going to synthesize the events of the season from the pilot to the finale, adding in tidbits to make things make more sense. I think the best way to do this is initially chronologically to explain everything that went on with Brandon's murder, then split the explanations for the co-op and the land grab scheme, and finish the video up by tying off the loose ends in the finale, and of course that massive cliffhanger. I hope by the end of the video you have a much stronger appreciation for Sheriff Country, because my goodness, I know I sure did. We first meet Brandon Dabrowski in the Sheriff Country pilot, and he's just a combination of all the things you don't want in a son-in-law. He's a drug dealer, even though Sky is trying to stay clean. He starts a fight between Mickey and Travis about the constitutionality of Mickey arresting him, and he steals $600 from Wes after Sky tells him about the money. Oh, and Sky steals pills from him, and then he threatens to tell her mom, making fun of the fact that Mickey is sheriff. Just generally a grade A guy, though his mom says Brandon changed and started hanging out with a new group of kids not long before his murder. By the end of the pilot, Sky finds Brandon dead and goes over to Mickey's house, covered in blood. Mickey takes her into the sheriff's office where Boone and Cassidy process her. Eventually, we find out that Sky had gone to apologize to Brandon about their earlier fight when she found him dead. In a panic, she pulled the knife out of his back and then dropped it. Alec, who was also in the apartment at the time, was able to take the knife, presumably wiping it clean of Sky's prints to prevent Sky from accidentally taking the fall. This cover-up almost works, but doesn't because, unfortunately, and Alec had no way of knowing this, Sky had bought the knife for Brandon as a gift and she still had the receipt. She hands it over to Boone when he was searching for the knife at the house, and he uses that as probable cause to charge her with Brandon's murder. By the way, he was only searching the house because during the investigation, someone in town remembered that Mickey arrested Brandon, but since Mickey let him go, this becomes reason to suspect that maybe Mickey is corrupt. After Sky's arrest, the county attorney, Reuben Massey, kicks Mickey out of the station. This means Mickey has all the time in the world to go investigate Brandon's murder, and wouldn't you know it, Mickey's DEA boyfriend is more than willing to help. At first, Mickey doesn't want to help, but she ends up snapping a picture of the pills that she sees from Brandon, and wouldn't you know it, the pills point the finger at Adrian Smith, a known dealer. Mickey goes in to investigate, and Smith attacks her, but Alec is there to shoot him dead, and as Mickey freaks that she was almost murdered, she finds the bloody knife, which seems to prove that Adrian killed Brandon. It's only 2 episodes later that we get the next strand in this big serialized story with the episode Exit Interview. In that episode, a longtime family friend to the Foxes, Bill Wambach, is murdered. Throughout the episode, Wes is utterly convinced that it is some outsider doing it, in particular a member of the Bulgarian mob. Wes is helped along by this belief by his friend Irv, who is almost the exact stereotype of an anti-outsider xenophobe, with all his rants about these new guys that aren't like them when they showed up in the 70s to start their grows. In the end, Wes finds out that Irv killed Bill after Bill wouldn't make their long-term water rights arrangement an official deal, which would have allowed Irv to sell his land. Then, when Irv is cornered, he kills himself with Wes and Mickey watching. Wes spends the entire night ranting about how humans are worthless. That's only the first of 2 traumas that Wes goes through in regards to legalization. The second comes 2 episodes later in the episode Death and Taxes. In this episode, Jay and Luna Miller, the children of Edgewater growers, try to pay their taxes from their legal marijuana business and are robbed in a shootout. Not long after, another set of legal growers are also robbed while trying to pay their taxes, and Mickey and Sharon work together to get everybody to the tax office safely, but the experience still leaves a mark on Wes. He goes to see Mama Jo, who is sort of the female patron saint of the drug dealers, and she tells him to quit going legal and start forming a cartel. It's all talk that Wes wants the good old days back because in the old days they protected each other. So he does, and while some of the legal growers, especially those who were formerly illegal growers, say they're uncomfortable, the others reason that if the choice is die or get locked up, then dying is worse. Over the next several months, the co-op just kind of works silently behind the scenes. Every now and then, Wes is out of town and is implied to be on a drug deal, until we see the co-op reassemble in the episode 24 Candles. We find out that it's been going on 6 months, and between Wes's leadership and Dale's connections, they've been able to make $2 million. But they've got a deal to make $3 million by forging a long-term partnership with some weed dealers in Colorado. But in the middle of all of this, Dale is attacked, and while Wes wants to call the deal off because it seems fishy, the other members of the co-op seem to have been too consumed by money to still have their wits about them. They end up going through with the deal, but they also took Dale's truck to do it, which Mickey and Boone believe to have been stolen by the people who attacked Dale. Wes gets into a chase and ends up having to ditch the truck and flee. But, like the seasoned criminal he is, Wes knows to hide the money so that if he gets arrested, the money isn't seized. Unfortunately, the money gets confiscated, and with only $1.2 million distributed across all his hidey holes, Wes first tries taking this money to the co-op, but Tanner tries to beat him up, so it's a no-go. Later, Wes learns that the DEA plans to move the money via an armored truck, and they come up with the idea to rob an armored truck, which actually works pretty well until the feds roll up in San Francisco and the money is gone. Surveillance starts on the co-op, but by then, Wes had already quit the co-op after his legal license was approved, and he wanted to do right by Mickey. But the DEA is already closing in. Through surveillance, the DEA identifies Mama Jo, Luna, Tanner, and Brownie, all as definitive members, along with Dale, who's in the hospital. The DEA figures out that the armored truck heist happened in Drake County, and the surveillance footage caught Luna wearing Mickey's uniform on a speed cam. During a confrontation between the 2 women, we learn the details of the alleged death of Mickey's mom, and Luna tells Mickey she already knows how Luna got the uniform. Mickey then goes to arrest Wes, who was already planning to turn himself in because he assumed they were after him too. But the co-op scheme and Brandon's murder make up only 2 strands of this braid. It's finally time to circle back to the land grab scheme, and then we can finally talk about that insane finale. body. We actually first learn about the scheme in exit interview because there weren't just offers for Irv's property, there were also offers for Bill's property. On the one hand, Bernice Wambach described men in polo shirts asking people in Deadwater to sell. On the other hand, someone was leaving bullets in people's mailboxes, or in the case of Bernice, breaking into her house to scare her. Truly terrifying when you remember the fact that at that point in time, they didn't know who killed her husband. Wes originally blames the Bulgarian cartel, but apparently these guys grow a super specific strain, and it needs to grow outdoors, making Bill's property useless to them. They had hoped that the burglar was the one who killed Bill, but it couldn't have been Irv since he was with Wes during the break-in. Irv can't be a lead because he killed himself. The plot basically disappears until 24 Candles when Dale Hawkins gets beat up and left for dead. Luna and Brownie tell us the growers have gotten offers, but their grows aren't just agricultural land, it's where they live. Dale was fucking with the guys, and that's why they beat him up. Unfortunately, before they can actually get any info off Dale, Alex starts arresting members of the co-op, and Dale won't talk, so they've got a dead end. Thankfully, Mickey has another tool up her sleeve, a plot of land acquired through civil asset forfeiture, right in the middle of the plots being bought. This sale leads to the eventual discovery of Lyman Ford, the attorney for the shell company Emerald Eden, based in Nevada, where you don't have to register the principal officers of an organization. Tracking Lyman Ford leads them to find Frank Stokes. Pretty soon, Lyman Ford becomes the victim of a classic fake suicide attempt, and Frank Stokes gets taken out Breaking Bad style. But wouldn't you know it, Frank Stokes happened to be part of the same gang that Alec was embedded in during his initial stint in Edgewater. Hank comes up with the idea to go to Alec, but Boone decides they're going to track him down to the meetup and do the good old-fashioned, I'll eat your sandwich until you talk to me. It doesn't work, but they do notice a knuckle duster, and later the medical examiner finds a bruise on Lyman Ford's neck, matching the knuckle duster, which gives them enough evidence to get a warrant. But when the XO goes to arrest him, McGuire is waiting for them and shoots Hank, leading Edgewater County Sheriff's Office to unload on the guy in what everyone assumed to be a suicide by cop. But later, Boone finds evidence suggesting that someone was hiding on the other side of Matt McGuire's truck, and that person both killed McGuire and shot the bullet that injured Hank. But with everyone dead, we've got a good old-fashioned all our leads are dead until Travis's sister Miranda announces her plans for Fraley Enterprises to enter the legal cannabis growing business, and her map of properties is the exact map Boone, Hank, and Gina discovered were owned by Emerald Eden. But estate sales are not illegal, and with everyone involved in the extortion scheme dead, Mickey is, as my dad would say, so out of luck. So, unable to do much of anything else, she barges down to Fraley Enterprises, where she accuses her ex-sister-in-law of murder and demands Skye come with her. Skye doesn't come with her, but she believes her mom and plans to do some good old-fashioned off-the-books undercover detective work by breaking into her aunt's safe. Unfortunately, she is caught by Rick, and Rick decides to poison her. He tells Mickey that Skye OD'd on fentanyl, but Mickey realizes that Rick poisoned Skye with a smoothie, and when Skye wakes up, she confirms what happened. But Rick's murderous ways aren't over. He comes up with the big idea to have Alec murder Skye so that no one ever finds out what Rick did, but Alec shoots him dead instead, stuffing him into the back of his own car, and going off to go to bed with Mickey, make her breakfast, and ask her to run away with him to Mexico. Meanwhile, as Alec hoped, the car with Rick's body stuffed in the trunk is stolen, and it's not too long before the sheriff's office finds it. Throughout all of this, Boone is just very convinced that Alec is guilty, and even though Mickey knows he is because she saw Alec and Miranda arguing at her house when they thought she wasn't looking, it takes a while for her to tell that to Boone. Eventually, Boone and Alec's boss, Deputy Director Eva Santos, work together to come up with a scheme. They tell Alec that Mickey took $2 million from the DEA heist as a bribe, and Alec, who had been working for Miranda because he felt like the DEA agents got a raw deal for what they do, is both incredibly excited that Mickey is guilty and very passionate about the two of them getting onto a private plane and flying to Mexico right away. The fun thing is that Alec actually suspects Mickey. He rips open her shirt looking for a wire, and it's never really explained where it was hidden. When they get out to the hangar, both of them have hairline triggers until they pull guns on each other. What ensues is an epic fight scene where Alec gets shot, Boone gets shot by Alec, and then Alec draws another weapon, at which time Eva Santos pops him in the head. Thankfully, Alec confessed everything to Mickey, which allows them to arrest Miranda, and Skye convinces her father to take over Fraley Enterprises after a little bit of threatening to kick his ass. Then, let me tell you, we have the most insane out-of-this-world reveal, with Deputy Director Santos basically telling Mickey, if you don't help me bring down the Bulgarian cartel, I will ruin your life, bring in Wes. Then from the second Wes walks in and lays eyes on Eva, he knows, because he had spent like 7 years with this woman, that this is Mickey's mother. Yeah, that's right. Mickey's mother is blackmailing her daughter and former husband into working together. Happy family reunion. Here's the Jerry Bruckheimer credit. All this being said, this was like the most insane hour of TV that I have seen in a very long time. Perhaps people would be offended by me saying this, but I would put it right up there with Ozymandias in Breaking Bad. It has that same level of, oh God, what's happening for the entire 45 minutes. But unlike Ozymandias, where we had to linger through 2 more episodes, we're going to have like an entire 20-episode run after this earth-shattering news about Mickey's entire life being a lie. Oh, and apparently, according to showrunner Matt Lopez, spending several episodes where Mom gets to be the family handler. I hope this video was useful for you guys. I have never done an ending explained before, other than the Fire Country Season 1 ending explained, where I spent like 22 episodes explaining the ending of Fire Country before I explained the ending of Fire Country. In this one, I decided to focus more on the plot and plot building, but I definitely think in the future there's lots of room to do video essays. I did initially think that Sheriff Country got off to a rocky start with some of the episodes in the first half. The second half, though, I was absolutely living for it and started laying out every twist and turn in detail for my mom and members of the Fire Country Book Club, so I'm really excited that I got to do that here for you. But a Sheriff Country essay series is going to have to wait for now. I'm currently working through Fire Country season by season, and soon I'll be starting work on the season 2 essay series. However, over the summer, I am hoping to do a video on how Sheriff Country portrays the pros and cons of this halfway legalization where the states legalize it and the feds don't. It's something that I really want to sink my teeth into, even though it could probably just go in the Sheriff Country Season 1 essay series. I know you're probably wondering where the Fire Country Season 4 Ending Explained video is, and my answer is, it'll be here at some point. It actually took me an entire day after the finale about thinking about the finale before I really understood what all was going on. Because of that, I need to think about exactly how I'm going to put together this Ending Explained video as a single essay because it's so heavily involved in Bodhi's character arc. This is what I love about Fire Country, is that the ending is more about thematic structure than wrapping up a big plot, but don't get me wrong, I love Sheriff Country's big plot. I am undoubtedly going to need 21 essays to work my way through Fire Country Season 4, but I'm hoping that I can still put out something of a reasonable length and speed before the end of the month for you guys. Or I should say before the end of June, because I suppose it's still May. But you know, that's gonna be in like 2 years after I finish the Season 2 and Season 3 essay series. Well, I guess that's about all the time I have for this video. Like I said, in my next video, we're going to be walking through what happened in Fire Country Season 4, which really, my idea for that video came from a recent interview by Max Theriot. And then after that, I'll be laying out my summer slate for you guys. Alright, bye.